Okay, so we've got another really awesome farm that we're visiting now, and we just wanted to just kind of highlight what it was that we found. So they were saying it's about 40-year-old plants, David,
Mm,
that is in this.
yeah, this is 43 years ago when this plant was planted, but there is no improvement on this farm. Uh, the farm manager is still using the traditional way of planting. He doesn't want to change the plants that were planted 43 years ago because he fears that maybe when he brings in the new type, the colonial type, it will bring in new diseases and his plantation will wipe out. But we are going to work with NACORI, this is a National Coffee Institute, to come and advise these farmers where to begin from. So we are going to change this farm, and this farm is going to be a model farm in this area because it has a big chunk of land, but it is producing, the production is very low. So we are going to work with the local leaders here to improve such farm gardens in the area.
Yeah, and again, just the stalks you can see on these are probably about 8 inches around, just because they're really old. They're about 40 years old, so they've tried to produce branches and branches and branches. They've been cut down or broken off, and there's just leaves at the top. There's very little to harvest, so a lot of these just need to be ripped out and replaced with more productive, younger coffee plants. But there's also a lot of extra density. They're spread out by maybe 20, 30 feet apart. So there's ways that you can plant them closer together, more uniformly, so it's easier to pick. And then of course, maybe newer varieties that are a lot more productive than the older varieties as well. And then hopefully Nakori can help them with more cover crops and intercropping and come up with ways to do more of what we're seeing. Because he's saying there's corn, there's beans, there's matoke, there's bananas, but you could definitely plant a lot more of the more shaded crops as well, because once it gets hot, a lot of this is going to be producing really quickly. And that's partly why some of these have grown so tall too, is they're just getting full sun, so they're growing really, really quickly. So if you can provide a little more shade, you're going to get possibly better flavors out of it, just because they're not going to mature quite as fast, and it's going to be more sustainable for the plant. So, but the soils felt pretty good at the front of the farm. Back here, it's again a lot more compacted, just because it's just getting the brunt of the full sun. There's not quite as much diversity in the soils. That's something to build up over time. But overall, yeah, definitely a great pilot project. And like you said, a good model farm. If we can turn this around, it's fun to capture it now, because there's a lot of work to be done. And who knows, in 3-4 years, this might be looking completely different. So very exciting.
Oh, yeah. So my duty right now, I'm going to change the mindset of these people here so that they stop the traditional subsistence way of farming to modern agriculture farming and farming business, agriculture as a business. So that is my responsibility. That's going to be my role. That is what I'm looking forward. Uh, Give it 3 years. This is going to be a model farm in this area.
Awesome. We're going to hold you to that, David. Let me just do real quick, just show people what we're talking about too. So this is what we're looking at now. So again, all the plants are pretty far apart. There's not much shade, at least in this region of the farm. But we do have, you see some banana, there's tons of corn, matoke, which is like a potato, and then beans. But that's even pretty relatively new planting. And then all the rest of the coffee trees are just really, really old, and they're hard to harvest from, and there's very low production because they just haven't been maintained. And he was saying that they just think that God provides everything that they need, and there's not any need for fertilizing or feeding, which is admirable. It's very organic and old school, but at the same time, it's not really doing a whole lot for the producer. So we're going to see if we can come up with some compromise that makes them a little bit more sustainable in the long term. So again, just wanted to give you guys a taste of what it was that we're doing, and hopefully we can come back in 3 years and this will be quite a bit different. So
Oh.
stay tuned.